Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check waifu waifu. Man, tell them. Is that you?
And 277 we here was good.
This is episode 277 of Mic Check Waifu Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu Waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. This is where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Story, which is coming back next week. You can get access to the Patreon exclusive pre-show to this podcast, as well as other video content, more coming soon on that. Make sure you guys check out Patreon. Even if you don't support us there is a video, a Mic Check Waifu Waifu update on content. So feel free to check that out. It's actually, it's also on our YouTube as well, youtube.com/@Mic Check Waifu Waifu. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And lastly, join the Discord. That's where all the major conversations happen on the Discord, discord.miccheckwaifuwaifu.com. to be a part of the great conversation that goes on over there by many anime enthusiasts like ourselves. It's a lot of fun, and we have a good time over there. So check it out. Shout out to the Patreon producers, Christian, the archivist, Rob from Dad Needs to Talk podcast, Fear, Glazed Yams, Cat the Pro from Chaotic Culture, Explicitly, All for One Matt, Mazer Altor, Monique Williams, Simi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone, and last but not least, T Money Fingers. Mic Check Waifu Waifu is the anime podcast is brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. We are here to give you some great topics, a few topics actually, mostly revolving around characters and writing, and we also get to pick our review that we're going to the show that we're going to review for our mid-season review this week. So after we're finished with this episode, we'll be watching whatever it is you guys suggest over at the discord.miccheckwaifuwaifu.com forum thread. So make sure you guys check that out. And we here, 277. How you feeling?
I'm good, bro. I shared that video with you, right? Because of my class. I'm in a course right now, and it's funny. The class is about communities and how you build a community, etc. And I ended up getting this specific assignment. I was like, no, I'm gonna take advantage of this assignment and use that to address the Mic Check Waifu Waifu community. So y'all see that video, you will see the updates that we basically have coming back and coming soon. And hopefully a new video almost immediately after this. But I'm good, bro. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. I woke up with a rough headache this morning and just kind of like laid up in the bed all day. But by the time I had to get ready to record, I just finished off the last Sunday shows that dropped. My list is rather slim. I put thin and slim together. Rather slim or thin is going to be the new term. Because I'm just not down to watch crap anymore. At least this season in particular. I said this in our Discord, but this season just isn't that great. Like almost at all outside of returning stuff. Like if it wasn't for the returning stuff, this season would be next to nothing. All things considered,
that's a fact.
To talk this anime because we got a lot to discuss. I think it's going to be a lot more than I thought. Because maybe I got a lot to say. Now here we go. Episode of the week this week. If you don't mind, I'll start because my episode of the week is DanDaDan. I mentioned it in Discord. It's my episode of the week for sure. Even though with a caveat. Because I am not allowed to pick, and it's only because I am not allowed to pick ReZero. But yeah, it's DanDaDan for me, episode of the week.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. Yeah. And the only reason I'm not choosing ReZero is because it's ReZero. You know, it's easy to choose that one every week. But DanDaDan
running.
It had a phenomenal episode this week, and a lot of it was I'm going to say a lot of it wasn't necessarily because of it was cinematography.
Yes,
it had top tier cinematography, and one of those, we'll discuss it later, but that's kind of why it got that boost. It did well.
Let's discuss it now, shall we? Since
okay,
and just to mention, episode of the week for Discord was obviously DanDaDan as well. I mean, it was like our biggest thread we've had by far since we started the Mic Check forum in our Discord. It's the total. I'm gonna just go to total amount of conversations. Remember, this is only for DanDaDan since the beginning of it launching to now. It's 129 posts. So it's obviously very, very popular within our community. And the conversation that we're about to have, both me and Tel understand that we are on the outside of this spectrum. And I think when we have this conversation, you guys are going to understand a little bit more where we're coming from. Now, everything about this DanDaDan episode had nothing to do with what we don't like about the show, right? And that to me says a lot about the show, right?
Bro.
when two of your main protagonists aren't really in about 85% of the episode, and this is your best episode yet, even according to like most popular, like, you know, the mainstream posts of best anime episode of the week and My Annie list and all these places, it was the best episode of the week, and the two protagonists was not in it. And we talk about this all the time. And the most important thing for us, I do believe, for Mic Check Waifu as a podcast, is character writing. If your characters in your world of your anime is piss poor, and it's hard for us to enjoy your anime as much as others. Like, you can have a great world, great antagonists, great side characters, but if your pro tags are hard, and then like, it's not really that many side characters to be fair in this, but the one thing that DanDaDan gets right, and I think Tel would agree with me on this one, is the antagonist. Like that, everything about this show has been about Turbo Granny and her little story. That's been the best part. Momo's grandma, she's been the best part. And then now what happened in this most recent episode, which was just incredible. I mean, it was heartwarming. And then I do agree with the Discord as well. Like, the way it ended was a complete, like, it was like, it was the quickest way to like completely ruin a top tier moment by that fucking shonen as outro. Like, it felt misplaced and misguided and just wrong. They should have just played it out like ReZero does so well. But I just think this episode was good because the main characters wasn't in it for most of it. Truly.
I feel like this episode, exactly what you said, epitomizes what I've been personally iterating, that the side characters, not the two main characters, are the best thing about this. And the writing of the world is the best thing about this. This felt like a display of the world, but it was interwoven into that character in a sense, you know what I mean? And it was beautifully done.
But was it the world though, or was it that antagonist?
Well, I'm saying that if you think about, like, yes, it was the antagonist, which is a character.
Which is her backstory, right?
Her backstory, but the world that's interwoven into like what her struggles were and what happened, and then how you can kind of sympathize with that as, you know, let's say you don't even have to be necessarily a parent, but how you can kind of sympathize with that as a person and watch it go on. They didn't need words, bro. They had the music going, and what they do well is that they play off of the color also extremely well. This is why I said that this is so heavily centered around cinematography.
Yep.
It was very heavily centered around characters who were not the MCs, and they didn't have to say much at all. They didn't have to say almost anything. It was just the music and what we saw. It was the visualization of it. And that sadly carried this episode because it pulled at my heartstrings for 100%. Sure, bro. This was easily the best episode of DanDaDan.
By far.
And I can see why it was so heavily talked about with this episode. And I even saw something saying that they strayed away from the manga a bit for this, but yo, hell yeah, that was a great stray. I don't know what the manga did that could have been possibly better than that, but that was an amazing stray. And if if this anime did not have my attention before, I hope, and it sucks because I know it's not going to stay at that tempo because, like you said, with the ending, it's not going to stay at that tempo. But if they continue to give us moments like this that feel as important, impactful, or heartwarming as this, I can love this anime, but it will also start to feel a little tropey. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to tear it down. I'm not trying to tear it down. But
speak your truth.
It was so well delivered that if they do this every so often with every antagonist that pops up, it's gonna be like, oh, okay, well, we know what the trope is now. We know what to expect. We know what the algorithm or recipe is. It'll get boring. So they do need to build off of this going forward with like just overall really good story, I hope.
Yeah, it feels like this writer was essentially not supposed to write a shonen, in my opinion. It feels like they're supposed to write a almost like a thriller or a psychological show, but because of popular demand, I don't know the story behind this author at all. So I'm talking out of my ass here. I'm just to be honest, but this is what I feel personally. It just don't, like, when the show is doing its Momo and Kentakakura thing, it doesn't feel good for me personally. Because for one, I hate this go all out Ken thing, and I hate her just yelling, hurling insults constantly. Momo, I don't like these two characters like whatsoever. And I said this in the Discord, but it feels like Momo is what, and again, this is just from an American standpoint, and Momo feels like what nerds actually see cool kids as. And that's not what quote unquote cool kids are. Like, what she is just, it rubs me the wrong way because it's so disingenuous as to what, you know, the quote unquote cool kid is. And there are cool kids written well in anime. Like, it's not like it don't exist. And then Ken is like the epitome of just every shut in or nervous nerd you would ever see. And it's boring. Like, those two characters are very boring. And I always hate when people are really good at powers that they didn't really earn. It drives me up a fucking wall. Like it always did. And in Black Clover, it drives me nuts to see people out here utilizing powers. Now, Ken is a little bit different, but it still doesn't feel right for him. I can only go all out twice in the previous couple episodes, and then she's shouting, "Go all out! You still got one more time, right?" It's just so fucking shonen that is disgusting to me.
When she said that, he technically did it 2 more times after that.
I want some uniqueness. I want some freshness. And what this made me bring up is Hell's Paradise. Those characters are written so well, and TCB mentioned it. Like, their baggage is so it complements the world. It doesn't build the world. Like, it's so, and that's what I miss about good shonen, because it exists. Like, JJK is the same way. Great characters that complements the world extremely well.
Facts.
It's going to be hard to know that this is probably going to be a once in a, hopefully not. Now, shout out to my guy Katagami, who's familiar with my streams, who's been rocking with me since like 2016 or something like that. Who's joined our Discord and talked about how much he loves DanDaDan because he's read it. He says that we are in for some treats, and I trust him. So I'm going to trust that these characters get some more character by later on within the series. So I'm just looking forward to that piece, because right now, outside of this episode, because they wasn't in it, and that makes me sad to say, this episode was fantastic. It was great because they wasn't in it. However, I know it sounds like we're ragging on DanDaDan. I do like the show. I do watch it. It's probably because it's a great dub. I think the dubs are phenomenal, but I do like it. I just don't think it's living up to the hype that it's getting. Yeah,
and it's not to take away from this episode, because like we said, this episode was phenomenal. Just to kind of touch on a topic we're gonna talk about later, the rating for this episode being like high as heck, 9.5 kind of episode, almost completely reasonable. It's just that, you know, the rest of the anime has some catching up to do, especially with, you know, the huge impact we got here. And then, you know, there are some other anime this season that are just like, they are really good and they deserve, if not the same amount of praise, because like, I'm gonna say this now,
Please do.
Tsumasho.
Oh my gosh, bro. Killer, bro.
I almost cried this week.
Me too. Me too.
So yeah, bro.
I even enjoyed Demon Lord 2099 this week a lot.
Yeah, that had some pretty good moments too. Even though I'm gonna say the animation to me felt a little choppy, but overall, it still was it was a much better, or it was an improvement on a lot of what they were doing as well.
Yeah.
So there are anime that deserve, if not the same level of praise, a similar kind of like statue to it.
All in all, we say all this to say ReZero had the best written episode. Probably since episode, I think 18 it was, or in this case, episode 8 of the director's cut or whatever it is, when Rim did her speech. It didn't need no action. It didn't have any action, all conversation, but it was the pen, man, the penmanship.
Yeah, borderline, and it wasn't as good as this specific ReZero episode, but it borderline gave me when he finally was able to say, "I can return from death." I was like, bro,
oh my God, I forgot about that episode too, bro.
He's spitting in his speech, and I was like, yo, ReZero is episode of the week. But I know DanDaDan was there, and
we objected of making ReZero episode of the week, so we can't do that. But yeah, no, it was brilliant. It was the best written episode this week. So to get to it, Tell sent me this thing on Instagram of the top anime episodes of week 7, the IMDB ratings. DanDaDan had the best one of 9.8, I think deserving this week. However, this is where I stray, and this is where I'm like, this is just the mainstream being the mainstream. 1,000 Year Blood War got a 9.5. I don't think this episode was that good at all. It was good, but I mean, 9.5. Okay. Yeah, it was like a 7.5.
You said good. I'm like, it was okay.
I think a 7.5 is good. Yeah, but I think it's there. I don't think it's 9.5 at all. ReZero should be, in my opinion, if we're gonna talk about penmanship and writing, at about a 9.8 itself, right? Like, yeah. That I can see. And then we have number 4, Blue Lock, episode 7 at 8.5.
Which, hear me out, I didn't know that Still Life or Still Shot the anime could get
Still Shot
could get high ratings, but c'est la vie. I'm not watching, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I'm catch up on it, but I will say Dragon Ball Daima, if we're just talking about animation alone, I think Dragon Ball Daima need to be number 3, and I think ReZero need to go up to number 2. Dragon Ball Daima has some of the best animation for me right now that, first of all, I've ever seen in Dragon Ball. It looks better than the movies to me. And I've even seen when they did the ray tracing and they went back and added some things and redone things. To me, this is probably one of the best looking anime this season, and probably one of the best looking this year.
That's at number 5, by the way. Daima.
That's at number 5. 8.4, I think, if you include storytelling and everything like that, obviously the only thing that's carrying Dragon Ball is animation. But the fighting and everything was amazing. What they did this episode was great. So 8.4, I think, is solid, but we're just talking animation is better than I'm pretty sure everything else on here, except for, I'm gonna say, I mean, it really ain't better than everything on here.
No, it's not. That's what I was saying.
But it does. I would say for this week, it deserves number 3.
I can't say it's not because I'm not watching it. So that's just, I can't. I'm being hyperbolic, but
I'm thinking about Blue Box because Blue Box is consistently good.
Blue Box is at number 6 at a 7.7. This is where I have a problem. Let me give you my order real quick. Number 1, I got ReZero at a 9.8, and number 2, I have DanDaDan at like a 9.7. Like that's where I'm balancing that at. Then at number 3, I got Blue Lock. No, sorry, not Blue Lock.
Blue Box.
Blue Box. Sorry, excuse me. Blue Box at like an 8.5. And then at number 4, the rest, because I haven't seen the other 2. So
yeah.
Well, Bleach added that, but I haven't watched them.
Yeah, if I was making my own list, I think I would be the same as you. I would go ReZero number 1, DanDaDan number 2, Blue Box number 3, Dragon Ball Daima number 4, Bleach number 5, and Blue Lock don't count. But I'm saying, like I said, I think Dragon Ball Daima is one of the best looking anime this season. It has not dropped the ball visually at all. Story wise, ain't no story there. So, you know.
True that.
Not yet. It's building.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Now, moving on to the main topic of the show, right? We got to pick our fall mid-season review.
Yeah.
So every season we do an end of the season review. So at the end of fall, we're going to review Demon Lord 2099, which is kind of perfect because we just watched episode 6 this week. So we got 6 more episodes of that. So 6 more weeks of that before we review it at the end of the season. But this is going to be the fall mid-season review for 2024. And we are going to choose via our Discord, discord.miccheckwaifuwaifu.com, Discord recommendation. Shout out to all the people that recommended. So we're going to go through these and talk about it and read the descriptions and whatnot. So let's start off with our guy. I never mentioned the Patreon producers, did I? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Okay, I'm going to add that in at the end of this podcast. Anyway. It's going to be like it never not happened. Anyway, we're going to start off with our Patreon producer, Mazer Alter. He says, yeah, it's that time again. So for my recommendation, I'm sticking with So I'm a Spider, So What? It's better than it should be. So that's his recommendation for us. I'm going to bring it up on the Annie list real quick. Now, this is one that we watched during the season in which it came out, which is rare for us because usually...
Did you finish that one?
I never even started it.
So I'm a Spider, So What, in my personal opinion, is really good.
Came out in 2021. It says, I am the protagonist. Was just an ordinary high school girl, but suddenly I was reincarnated as a spider monster in the fantasy world. Not only that, but I awakened in a dungeon filled with vicious monsters, armed with only my human knowledge and my overwhelmingly positivity. I'm forced to use spider webs and traps to defeat the stronger monsters just to stay alive. So begin the labyrinth survival story of a girl with an incredible mental strength living as one of the lowest ranked beasts. Yeah, so Tell watch this one. He says it's pretty good, huh?
I would say it's definitely better than it needed to be.
Okay.
It's one of those things where it becomes intriguing because of how things develop. Y'all who know Polo though, it's gonna take and I think this one is 24 episodes.
Damn, is it? It is 24 episodes. That's a big one.
So the issue I see is that it's gonna take about 8 episodes for Polo to like this main character. Interesting. The fact that it's 24 kind of got it lower on the list of so far. Yeah. It's a lot to binge and if you haven't watched already, you know what I mean? It's going to be easy for me because I hadn't already seen it. But Polo, he got to fully devote himself to paying attention to it. Yeah. All right, moving on. Another Patreon producer, Christian the Archivist, he says, Madoka Magica Season 1 is definitely not what you think definitely not what you think. And since you got past not watching Shoujo, if you can get past the magical girl thing after episode 3, then I won't mention it again. Madoka Magica Season 1. Let me go to it in Annie list. I don't have my glasses. Madoka Magica was easily one of the most surprising anime I've watched. And it's 100% not what you think it is. I feel like it's highly talked about for a reason. Yeah, they do a lot of spinoffs. It's Scuola Magi Madoka Magica, I believe. Okay, can you read the synopsis for me? Because I cannot find it anywhere. All right, here we go. One night, a 14-year-old Madoka Kaname has a terrible nightmare. Against the backdrop of a devastated city, she witnesses a girl fight a losing battle against a dreadful being lingering above. While a cat-like magical creature tells Madoka the only way to change such tragic outcome is for her to make a contract with him and become a magical girl. The next day, the teen's dream seemingly becomes reality as the girl she saw in her dream, Hamura, arrives at Mita Kihara Middle School as a transfer student. mysteriously warning Madoka to stay just the way she is. But when later on she and her best friend Sayaka encounter the same cat-like magical creature from her dream, who introduces himself as Kyubey, the pair discover that magical girls are real, and what's more, they can choose to become one. All they must do is sign a contract with Kyubey and agree to take on the duty to fight abstract beings called witches. That spread despair to the human world, and in return, each one of them will be granted any single wish they desire. However, as Homura's omen suggests, there might be far more to becoming a magical girl than Madoka and Sayaka realize.
Okay, so this came out in 2011. It has 12 episodes, so that's a plus for it. However, I mentioned this plenty of times before. The hate I have for magical girl anime is the same amount of hate I have for mecha. However, I did watch a few mecha, so there's maybe a chance I watch some magical girl one day. So
I'm not gonna lie to you. This one so far is pretty high on my list. I would love to review this one. Now, I promise you, I do think this is one that you might end up liking based on the story alone. I think the story you would actually like. But we'll see. Let's see what else is on the list that they recommended.
Let's go. Money Fingers is kind of champion what Christian, the archivist, said. Crystal says, I have two movies that are paired together, but it's made so that you can watch one of them in any order and the story flows differently. They've been sitting on my list for a while and I just haven't gotten to them, even though I know knocking out movies is easier than the series. Now, this is high on my list because if you go a little bit further down, if you do the movies, have Mattel watch the reverse order. You have you and Mattel watch the reverse order and you compared it to that way. That's an interesting way of doing it. Now, both of these movies, this one is called To Me, The One Who Loved You, is one of them. And then the second one is called To Every You That I've Loved Before. That's interesting. So they're movies. They're about an hour and 40 minutes long. Movies are a lot easier to do than the anime series. So that's one of the reasons why it's high on my list. But I'm going to read it To Me.
I got them both pulled up, so you can read one synopsis. I'll read the other one.
Okay, let me find.
You want me to read one first?
I'll read To Me, The One Who Loved You.
Okay.
Koyomi Hikata and Sayori Saito meet at his father's research center and begin to fall in love. But so do their parents, who eventually marry. To avoid becoming step-siblings, they decide to run away to a parallel universe. Traveling between dimensions and is common in their world, but not without repercussions. Does the universe exist for the young couple, and what will it cost to find it? Interesting already.
All right. To Every You I've Loved Before. While struggling to make friends after his parents' divorce, Kiyome Takasaki meets Kazune Takagawa, but apparently they already have. Kazune reveals that she's from World Line 85, an alternate universe in which she and Koyome are lovers, but in reality, where moving between dimensions is natural, could Koyome be the one from another world?
Holy shit. Now this is interesting because they pair together. And you go watch them in any order. So, that one's high on my list because it's a movie. Movies are easy, and I can actually watch them with my wife, and it's a love story. So, I of course I enjoy that part of it too.
Same.
So, having her a part of the conversation kind of influences my reviews sometimes. Whenever we do a review that we can enjoy together, but that's why that's very high on my list. And then the idea of us watching it in different orders, like if I watch To Me, The One Who Loved You, and then you read the other one first, or you watch the other one first, and then we swap and see how it differs. Mm-hmm. That'd be interesting. That's an interesting, different, unique concept. T Money Finger says, Made in Abyss is so fire. Top 5 world building anime, maybe even top 3. So I told him this earlier, but we have a review of Made in Abyss. I believe it's like episode 50 or so, around the 50-ish mark, with Blanime Podcast. So
Yep. Blinded Made in Abyss.
Blinded Made in Abyss is the episode title. So if you haven't checked out our Made in Abyss review with another podcast where we have four totals that we averaged together to get our overall score for that one, check it out. It was a really fun episode, really dope episode. And then All for One Matt, the Patreon producer, gives us two that are very, very good shows that I haven't seen in so long, and I would love for Tell to see. One is Charlotte, one of the best anime of all time. And then
a lot about Charlotte.
And then the other one is Rascal Does Not Dream of a Bunny Senpai Girl, which blew my fucking mind back in the day.
All right, so Charlotte. The story centers around the special abilities that occur among a small percentage of boys and girls in puberty. Yu Arasaka uses his power without others knowing and lives a fairly normal average school life. Before him suddenly appears a girl, Nao Tamuri. Due to his meeting with her, the fate of special power users will be exposed. Yeah,
this Rascal Does Not Dream of a Bunny Girl Senpai is a very, very interesting show. 13 episodes, 25 minutes. It came out in 2018. And Charlotte is an older one, isn't it?
2015, I think. Yeah, 2015. Now, hear me out. With Charlotte, I already planned on watching this one. So here's my personal opinion. I think because I already planned on watching Charlotte, we don't add it to this review.
Okay. I'm with that.
I did add it to my watching list, so maybe I'll just go ahead and knock it out anyway. But the principle is that I think Charlotte is good, and I do think it's a watch that we should do, or a review we should do at one point.
I do agree with that. It's 13 episodes. I think it's out of the two that offer one Matt, both of them are great, but Charlotte is the better one, more interesting one, I think.
Yeah. I almost think, and I don't want to overcommit, because this season is so weak. And I'm not going to say because it's so weak. I'm almost thinking that around episode 9 or 10
of Demon Lord.
Yeah, we can go ahead and do a review of Charlotte as well. If you're down, like I said, this season is relatively weaker.
Yes, it is. That is a reason. So, yeah,
I do think that I'm down for that. So I would love to add Charlotte on the list.
Okay,
as a
bonus review,
as a mid season.
I would love to do that because I would love to rewatch Charlotte. It's been so long. So I would love to rewatch it and do a review of it personally. However, we have to pick it for this. We have to pick one for this mid season, and I
know what you want, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm stuck.
Okay.
So I like the idea of the movies. I want to do Madoka Magica too. But I can understand. I can see, and I'm only doing this because I know Polo's gonna struggle with wanting to watch Madoka Magica.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. It's a full series.
They gotta get him to do Madoka Magica at some point though. So Archivist, boy Chris, you're gonna have to recommend it again.
So this is what I'm doing. This is what I would do if we do the movies. If we do decide to do the movies right now, and then I watch To Me first, and you watch To Every You first, and we swap. It doesn't really matter, but you watch those in that particular order. Then I'll watch 3 episodes of Madoka Magica sometime this season. 3 episodes only so far. And then after I watch those 3 episodes, I'll commit to a review at a later time. We cool with that? Because to be honest, I hate magical girls so much, even more than Mecha, I would say, that this is a big deal.
I understand.
Like he mentioned the fact
that I'm willing to make this bargain here.
He mentioned the fact that I got over not watching shoujo, but that was easier to get over because it's just a different form of slice of life. I could do that.
This is, and when I say this, Madoka Magica is.
It doesn't matter. It has girls that transform, I'm sure. So that's enough for me to hate it already.
Yeah.
So that alone is like, regardless of how you say the story is directed, and it's not what I think. It's not a magical girl saves somebody every week. I understand that. I get it. It's the fact that it's girls that transform into magical beings, period, that I just can't fucking stand. I just think I don't know. I've always hated it.
It's kind of hard to think about what anime you can make that compares to it, because there's not really another one that has the same kind of storyline, which is wild.
It's the same with Sentai, right? Like, I don't like the Power Ranger type shit either. Like, I just don't. For something about those that I just can't get behind. Rhyme unintended there.
Probably just grew out of it at some point.
Yeah, I guess.
So which one of these movies we gonna watch?
Well, we watching both.
Yeah, and I'm saying, how are we gonna do this? Are you gonna watch one movie one week, and I'm gonna watch a movie this week, and then we switch them off for the next week, or we just gonna watch both movies?
I think we're supposed to watch both movies.
Okay,
but we compare the differences. I think I'm not sure I understand, but we compare the differences between watching the first one first and then the second one. You know what I'm saying? That way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm gonna watch To Me first and see if that affects my score of To Every You, and then I'll watch To Every You, and then vice versa. I don't know how this is gonna work, because I don't know anything about these two movies. So, but To Me is what I want to watch first. And the only reason why I say that is because it's on the left side of Crystal's post, and I'm on the left side of our video version. Because it just feels right, and then you're on the right side, so that's why I did that.
We there.
All right, thank you, Crystal. We are going to review those two movies next week. So the question is, does it count as a series though? Like, do we review them together as a series, or are they separate?
I mean, if they're supposed to be together, then I say we put the title as one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? What is it? To me, the one who loved you, and To Every You I've loved before. Just put them as basically one title, and just like, comma or semicolon.
See, that's going to be tough, because like, what if? Okay, it's different. It's a unique review, so we just look at it like a series like that. I like it a lot. All right, let's get to know My Check Waifu. This time I read the question and tell Rose a random number, right? Or did I get that fucked up again?
Nope, let's do it. Random number generator.
Oh, I forgot. For some reason, I had to sign in after Windows update. I had to sign into all my Googles.
What we taking the spoiler talk?
Oh, ReZero. I don't think we should do Bleach this week.
Yeah, we already talked about DanDaDan a bit. Or do you?
Yeah, we already talked about DanDaDan. Tsumasho?
Yeah, we can do Tsumasho.
ReZero and Tsumasho, I guess.
That's good with me.
All right. Okay.
Oh, you ready?
No, I gotta re-sign into our Gmail here to get the. I thought I was ready.
Also, for those who are not aware, we will be eventually adopting Blue Sky.
Yes. Follow us on Blue Sky. Whatever that will be. Okay, here we are. What's the number?
Number 45.
45. What is the best anime you've watched based on the game? Arcane.
Is that an anime though?
It's a cartoon. It's an animated. It's an animation, I guess. It's not anime, but that's what I got. All right.
Since you chose Arcane, I'm gonna choose Pokemon X, Y, and Z. Not XY, XYZ.
Because there's a difference. Make sure you understand that there's a big difference.
There is a difference, huge difference.
I trust you on that. right, we're gonna take this quick break and we'll come back. We're gonna spoil ReZero and Tsumasho. We'll be right back after these. And welcome back to episode 277 of Mic Check Waifu. Make sure you follow us on Blue Sky, because I got a feeling we're going to slowly kill Twitter. I'm going to continue to post the episode announcements there because it's easily just to while I'm uploading the video on YouTube to just schedule tweets to go out there. So that's what I normally do. But the interactions probably won't be there anymore. So follow us on Blue Sky. It's probably going to be Mic Check Waifu. Yeah. Now, starting with ReZero, the best episode this week. Honestly, by pensmanship alone.
Yeah, they be spitting with this pen. They must have Kendrick Lamar over there writing. Unbelievable
how good this episode was, Till. And it was not like we didn't get anyone. No movement happened. Only conversation in two particular places. And I didn't talk about Overlord again. God damn it. In two particular places, though. It's with Amelia and wife 184 and yes, or 189 or whatever she is. And then with Subaru. And they were the two of the most Subaru, obviously. And did you see do you watch the little chibi specials they do of ReZero?
At the end of the episode?
No, there's whole nother series.
No, I didn't watch any of the chibi episodes.
So one of the chibi episodes dropped a bar that was crazy. That I don't know why they haven't done this in the show. But And this goes with what happened when they zoomed in on Ao's face. Apparently, he's from Japan.
And hear me out. I was thinking that, and
like, why? How were you thinking that? Like, how did that even ever cross your mind?
And no, that's not specifically what I was thinking. What I was thinking was this. His eyes, because when they zoomed in, his eyes looked just like Subaru's to me.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out, why is his face specifically covered? So it wasn't that, I didn't think necessarily that he was from Japan. I was like, did they cover his face because he's someone related to Subaru? Subaru would know him if he saw his face.
And
I felt like there was something like that. I didn't think he was necessarily from Japan, but he looked like Subaru in comparison to everybody else.
Why would they drop this in this little side thing that I just so happened to watch this week? Like, what? Like, this is something that should have been in the show announced. Hey, I'm also from Japan.
That was actually a detail I meant to write down in my notes to bring up, that they zoomed in on his face like that, because it stood out so much. It was very intentional to show us that this person is different in comparison to everyone else and what Subaru is.
Yeah, I was blown back. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, in this little show, in this little thing, you don't need to watch it. I'm gonna tell y'all this now. Yeah. The little chibi thing, you don't need to watch it. I just watched it to kind of palate cleanse after that episode, because I shedded a tear. I did during his speech. It was so the conversation between all of a Subaru, like, hey, Anastasia, I believe you're the best one to do this. This is your town, blah, 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 blah. And the fact that she's like, listen, as much as I appreciate you saying that I'm the best one to make this speech, I just don't agree with you. I'm like, a character that's so headstrong as Anastasia, for her to be able to admit the fact that she's just not the best one here to do this speech, even though it would get her so many quote unquote princess points or whatever this competition is. She's like, I can't, it's not smart. And that just goes to show how good these characters are written. Because when you can acknowledge your own misgivings, I guess, then I don't know. It shows how much depth you have as a character, I guess.
And that's one of the things that obviously is a strong suit of ReZero. They build these side characters up extremely well. Mm-hmm. Like, we literally got, what's her name? Priscilla last week. Yeah. Who was amazing. In season 1, we got, what's her name? Krish, yeah. Krish, and then even a little bit this season. We do get these side characters who constantly get that build up. And like you were just saying with Al this week, he even had a moment where he got to speak and he said his piece. He was spinning every too. Character that talks in this show, they carry.
Yeah, because like you can understand where everybody's coming from a reasonable mental state. Like, I was like, listen, you don't have to be these people's hero. Like, you, like, he's just straight up telling them, like, it's not gonna be what you think. All for him to prove Al wrong, because even I think I was kind of feeling that speech is why he tisked and walked away as he did. Mm-hmm. But like, it's just I can't look past how good everything was written this episode. It only took place in 2 different places. The conversation between Amelia and wife 189 or 184 or whatever she is was fire. And then for the speech to come on, and then they have that conversation after that speech, like, listen, I'm about to get y'all all out of here. I'm like, she's like, let's have this wedding at the end. I'm like, oh, I just love it. I love the character growth that Amelia has exuded this entire season so far because of, I mean, honestly, both season 1 and season 2, she had nothing but time to grow. It's so incredible.
Yeah. Now, I will say this though. I have this feeling of impending doom.
Oh, of course. You have to. Yeah, you have to.
Because it's like, I'm watching this episode and I'm just like, yo, I feel like they want to break our heart. Yeah. Right before this episode ends. They're going to break our heart. I mean, it didn't, but I don't feel safe.
Yeah, I don't feel safe at all. I think, and we talked about this last week, but I don't know, which was literally a few days ago, by the way, but I just don't know what's going to happen And what I mean by that is like, is it a save point or not? Like, is the speech a save point now? Because that felt like a save point.
That felt like a save point.
I feel like the speech was
the same day, technically.
Yeah, of course. But for some reason, and I wish ReZero did something to prove to, and maybe it wouldn't do this because it would be too on the nose. Yeah, but like a sound cue of a save point. You know what I mean? It would lose some of the suspense though, because right now I'm on the edge of my fucking seat trying to figure out when.
The only sound cue we have is when Subaru die.
Yeah, when we hear that, it's like, oh shit. And then sometimes when he dies and he don't know how he died, that's the worst. Because it just happens. He just wakes up. Oh, the instant, the faster deaths are the worst kind of deaths, I think, personally. But I digress. I do think you're right, though. I think impending doom is coming, but I don't know how. I can't fathom how after this rally that he just gave.
This next episode, I think you told me this is going to be a break, a mid-season break.
Yeah, episode 8. After episode 8, then we got until February.
Yeah, so they're going to kick our ass this next episode.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. I guarantee they're going to hit us with some bull crap.
Thanks for reminding me. I totally forgot.
They're about to hit us over the head after they gave us all that motivation, bro. We're going to be crying for months. What did he say? When they come back?
February, yeah.
They coming back just in time for Valentine's Day to beat us over the head.
Oh, that just blew my mind. I forgot that we got to wait. Let me just look at here.
Yeah, we got to do another review for the depression.
The 2025 winter. Make sure it's not here. Yeah, no, it's not here. Fuck. That's sad. Oh, wait, is it? No, it's not here yet, but I think it will be once the next episode ends, which is unfortunately relatively soon. Looking at ReZero here. Yeah, the next episode is in 2 days from the time you're hearing this.
Oh, no, hold on. Oh, no.
I thought you caught something.
Yeah, I thought I did too, but it's this is for season 2.
Yeah, they're probably gonna announce it's gonna be up on any list.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a 2-month break after episode 8.
Yeah, that's February, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe it's already about to be December. I'm about to be playing Stalker 2 in a few days.
Let's go, brother.
Oh, but anyway, let's move on to Tsumasho. One of the saddest episodes, honestly.
Yeah, bro.
I said this in the Discord. What did I say exactly? I said, ouch, man. That's all I could say. It was ouch.
Ouchie.
Yeah, because and then TCB's reply to say, can you imagine a young child having to go through this IRL, mentally displaced from the world around you? It's traumatic as fuck. This girl is 10 years old. And she lost her memories of an entire year. And then not only that, but she comes back and it's a year that passed. And then she's taken over again. So she's lost even more time now. And then imagine how the wife is feeling right now. She's like, fuck.
And then the mom.
It's
and
hard.
Then we have the dad who finds out or kind of comes to understanding that we get later on.
Yeah, which I think is the most important piece of this entire episode. I think the explanation of this was fucking brilliant, Till. Brilliant. More great penmanship, because we thought it was reincarnation. Nah. We learned this episode that it's actually a possession.
Mm-hmm.
And that hurts. Because that means one has to go. And obviously it's the wife.
As it should be.
But you can't blame her for how conflicted she is with with this whole thing, right? Like,
right. And I think that what it does though is it sets a tone, so to speak, right? It sets a tone with like we already kind of and it sucks because it gave us a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And like seeing this and everything like that.
That they can coexist.
But it sets a tone that they do have to move on. Right? The husband and daughter do have to move on, and they got to give this girl her life back.
Yeah. Sad.
I hope that the original Marika can almost like, because if the longer this goes on, the more that she has to cope with real life. It's kind of like what they even said it as. Like they set that precedent where like going to school is gonna be hard because you missed a whole year. There's stuff you're not gonna remember, you didn't learn necessarily, and maybe they might merge some of her memories with, you know, what what's the wife's name again? With what the wife did during that time, right? So that she doesn't completely lose that time. But it's a pretty steep penalty to pay or make that girl pay for that. Man. And I feel like they're going to set that emotional like precedent that we got to get you to move on like we did the first time, like they kind of established in this episode. I will say that this solidified this anime as amazing to me. And I thought it was good. It wasn't my favorite, but this episode, in the previous one too, I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is good.
Yeah, this was easily out. And again, we sometimes don't agree on everything. This was easily like number 2 best show this season. Like, I mean, okay, yeah, easily number 2 best. Like, You Are Miss Servant, then this is like extremely close to me when it comes to its quality writing, man, and its quality characters. It's just unbelievable. And then obviously the third best being that the most notorious talker. That shit is great, but it's just I can't fathom the emotion that's going through these people's minds right now, especially the mother of Marika. Like, you just got her back and now she's gone again. And even the mother was like, listen, she's like, she felt bad about Takae is what her name is, in the bed, like taking over the little child again. She's like, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't want to do this to you, because she was technically gone for a month.
And the mom, like you said, she even, what's her name? Chica, is that the mom of America. What sucks about that is that she felt like, and she did a lot of harm to her daughter, emotionally and physically. And now
probably why the possession was allowed in the first place.
Right. But now she feels like she gets a chance to rewrite that, and then she loses it immediately again. And there's so much emotional value in this anime. And I love how they made it so multi-sided. You know what I mean? This is like a 4-sided die. Yeah. Like we don't know what Marika's actually feeling, other than the fact that they did give us some concepts of like what she thought, even in this episode. Like, you know, she was so scared to see her mom after school some days, but loved the meals that she made for her. And then the mom goes to make the meals, and the context there, but it wasn't even her anymore. It was the wife again. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, this anime is crazy, bro. I appreciated this episode. This was also another one that was episode of the week quality.
100%. It's a bad week for it to come out because of DanDaDan was being just that good, but it's so.
What do you think is gonna happen next?
That's a good check, man. I don't know, bro. I think they're gonna take this time to acquire closure. I think they need to acquire closure with the wife and just understand, like, hey, listen, and the wife knows this. Like, I have to give her daughter back. Like, this is it's just not fair. So I think they're going to spend the last times kind of reconciling with the fact that she has to go, and coming to that conclusion, like it can't stay like this. So
right. And I agree with you. I think the next few episodes, where we at, episode 9 will be the next episode. I think episode 9 through 12 will just be a few days. I don't even think it's going to be very long. It might be like a week, maybe a month at the most, because I think they want to get the resolution there for the little girl as fast as possible. But they're going to make this. They're going to make this important, impactful. Like, get out what you needed to get out, so that we can move on and establish our lives. Like, the dad might actually end up going out with that girl for real. Yep. You know, fully committing to that and letting go of the fact that these people are married, but you're not married anymore, bro. And your mom was here, but she's not here anymore. You gotta move on. And I think that's what's crazy about this. This anime is certainly about moving on.
Yeah, but even the monk was like, listen, 10 years is not a meager time. Like, is a meager time to get over losing a piece of your heart. Or filling that hole in your heart. Like, I couldn't imagine, right?
I can't.
Yeah, it's now being a married man. I can't even think about it. Like, so for him, I feel for him so bad that it is I don't know. There's an attachment to these characters now, I guess.
Yeah,
and I think it's quite sad. But
what's up?
I'm at Polo Bornfly on all social media.
I'm at King Telliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Might Check Waifu on Blue Sky and at Might Check Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And as always, Might check.
Man, that Tsumasho episode kicked my ass.
You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?